I decided by the end of this year, I want to write my first book. But before start writing it, I need to do a couple of stuff. And in this video, I'm going to share what's my plan and what I need to do so I can prepare myself for the big moment. So writing a book, it's a really big deal. It is extremely, I don't know, like difficult, especially for a person who doesn't have a writing background and who never wrote a book. Because, some people, like in high school or even university, they had this kind of a projects or they decided to start writing. And as every art, you need to have practice, like you need to, if you want to be good at it, you have really to put your heart, soul, and time into it. And the more you practice, the better you're going to become. So I don't have this kind of a background. Obviously, I'm starting from zero. So I think I need to do the things differently. My plan, it has 3 different parts, and that's what I'm going to share today with you. So the first plan, it's this important, like mandatory books that I need to read. And what I'm talking about is I have a friend who studied English literature in Liverpool. And, I asked her, like, first I shared with her that I want to write a book. And she was so happy for me. I didn't expect that kind of reaction for her. I expected to be like, writing a book, it's really hard. It's not easy. You have really to do this and that and that. But she was genuinely happy for me. And she was like, I really wish you to write a book and you to be happy about it. And I was like, okay, I didn't expect this kind of reaction, but thanks. So she basically gave me 9-10 mandatory books, like a list that she read when she was her first year in university. And basically she read and studied these books, and she had different kind of exercise and essays around that. And she said that I need to read those books if I want to have some kind of a foundation of writing, storytelling, and stuff like that. And like we make a whole plan that each month I need to read one book. And it's not only books, actually, it's like plays and poetry. And so each month I have a specific thing that I need to read. And if you ask like why each month, why I don't read them really, really fast and start directly with writing, why I need to wait until September, because 9 books. So it's 9 books. So I started in January, and in September I can start writing my book. First of all, I don't want to rush things. I want to have enough time. Like, I don't want to put pressure and to be like, after work, I need to sit, read, and then to analyze and study all of this, and then to go to sleep and then again work. Like, I don't want to have deadlines. I don't want to push myself. I don't want to burn out. So I want to do this like a hobby. Like, I'm going to be really, really happy if the book is published and if people like it. But I really want just to enjoy the process and to have fun. So I want to have a balanced life and I want to enjoy life. So I don't want to be like every free time that I have just to put it on this book, which I'm basically doing that, but still I'm trying not to be too hard with it. So the plan is each month I have something that I need to read. And usually I'm reading like 2 to 3 chapters per day. And that if it's really difficult to understand or it's difficult to follow the story, I can even grab I can make some notes like what I read and what I understood. And later I can search if more explanation about the chapters and things like that. So the whole idea is to have enough time to read this book, this novel or poetry or whatever, and basically to have enough time to understand it and even to make some small notes and really to understand what is the message behind the text. And I had mixed feelings about this. Like literally, I love reading fantasy romance, sci-fi, like things like that. But I also want to try to read different kind of genres and different kind of books that they're more serious topics. And it's not like fantasy and sci-fi are some kind of easy books. I also think that this kind of genres can help people to understand really important philosophical questions or life questions and stuff like that. So I don't want to say that this and this and genres are more easy, not so important, and if you want to like read something more meaningful, you should read other books. I'm not saying that, but that's my opinion. So basically, I really like the challenge of each month to have different things to read, different genres. I think it's good challenge for myself and my English. So yeah, I was happy about this. And the moment I started reading Hard Times, yeah, I remembered something from my high school because back in high school I was studying mostly English. Like I was in a high school that studied languages, and my first language was English. So like my first year, 80% of my year was only studying English. And then I had also mathematics and literature. So basically my first year was only studying English and reading books in English. But at that time, because English is my second language, at that time I was really struggling like to learn the words, to start speaking, pronunciations, and giving me an English book, it was really, really hard because, you still struggle to understand what the words are, like how to translate them. And then you're reading a book, you don't understand 80% of the book or 50% of the book, and then you have to have a dictionary so you can actually understand what you're reading. But the dictionary is not like translated, it's like you have the word and the explanation is also in English. So at some point, if your brain stops, it's like you're reading the book, you don't understand, you're looking for the word, you still don't understand, and you're still reading the book and you still don't understand what's going on. And unfortunately, you have a big homework about this book, so you need to write a big essay or need later to explain to the teacher like what you read, you understood, what's the message behind the book and stuff like that. It was, yeah, it was kind of a stressful first year of high school. And literally when I started reading Hard Times, because, the way it's written, it's not the same as the modern books. And it was really, I had to switch my brain on and to focus and to try to understand what's written there. And if I don't understand something, I need to translate it or to search it or yeah. So the first thing was like the moment I started reading the book, I relieved the past trauma of my high school. And I was like, oh my God, now maybe I'm going to have a homework about this. Then I started reading the book and basically I didn't like it because I was missing the big drama moment because, I really like the idea, the message behind the book. I don't know if you read it. And if you did, please let me know in the comment sections below because I'm going to be really happy to hear your thoughts about like, what do you think about the book? Did you enjoy it? And stuff like that, like to talk with someone about this book. But, the message was quite good. And it was basically about the whole society teach the new generation that they need to be like logic, they don't need emotion, they don't need imagination, and they just need to like think logically, and that's how life is gonna be for them. And removing or literally the book shows what's going to happen into society if we remove emotions and imagination. And by the end of this book, we see the main character who is the teacher who shows the new generation that they don't need emotions. They only need logic and facts. He sees how both of his kids are sad and they lost the meaning of life, and they did a terrible mistakes, and they're miserable, and he literally lose the whole point of his life. Like, he doesn't know what he needs to do next, and he understands that we cannot live without emotions. So basically the message behind it, it's really, really good. I mean, it teaches you a lot and it gives you a lot to think about it. But I don't know. I just missed the big drama moment. Like, I don't know. It wasn't my book. And from here, I really took not an inspiration, but because in my book, one of the main characters, if she wants to become an heir, she is taught that she doesn't need emotions and she needs to be ruthless, and emotions are weakness. So I really enjoyed reading the book because of this character. I was like, okay, let me see how he wrote everything, how he structured his world, so maybe later I can use it to shape my character. February, I had to read Sir Orfeo. I think that's how it's called. Yeah, Sir Orfeo, which is like a poem, really old poem that I think I found it online in Oxford University website that was translated and made it more like modern text for everyone. And still, when I saw it first, it's a poem, like me and poetry, we don't have a connection, it's not working. But I was like, okay, let me give it a try, I'm gonna read it. And I was basically trying to read to understand what's written there. Then I had to translate it into my language, and then I was even asking the chat, like, is this what this poem is talking about? Because I cannot understand it quite well. So basically, it took me 2 evenings sitting, translating, and asking the chat to analyze and to work with me so I can understand the text. Basically, that's why I don't like poems. I like the idea about poems because with like little words you're writing about these big emotions, but it's not working for me. Like I cannot read them, so I don't like poetry. But yeah, I took 2 things from this poem. The first thing, I really love that, like, back at the times, folklore was their art, and later they transform folklore into text. Like, they start writing about it and transform it into stories, which was really a nice transition, really nice things to see. And I really love that even back at the time, everyone were talking about love, because every time I'm hearing people saying, like, why everyone is writing songs about love, and why every book is about love, and why blah blah blah. And even back at the time when, like, everything was different, people were basically talking about adventures, heroes, and love. And I really love, like, reading this poem. So basically what I took from this poem, it is the villain, the king, was basically collecting beautiful things all around the world, and they were living like forever as a gallery in his kingdom, is in his castle. And I really like the idea because one of my villains, she's a woman, and she used girl power in a wrong way, as I can say, because women all the time, we are represented like we're a symbol of beauty and passion and our bodies, but that's basically it. We are not smart, intelligent. So basically that's what she's doing. She's using girl power, feminine power, but in a wrong way, like only how men sees us, and thanks to that, she's gaining more power and connections and knowledge. So she's not helping women, she's using them for her interests. And I really like the idea of this poem, like maybe she can also collect beautiful things to be put in her castle, and like some kind of an inspiration from this poem. I really like the idea of that. I'm gonna see later how this is gonna look like, but I definitely take a note from the poem. And the third thing that I need to read this month, it's called, one second, because I have a really interesting story about this, The Tragic History of Dr. Faustus. So the fun thing about this, when I found, like when I was searching for the book, I found Dr. Faustus and I started reading it. And at some point I was like, I thought this book, it's about some scholar who sells his his life to the devil to have more knowledge. But right now I'm reading about some kind of a composer and piano and about his family, and I'm like, what's wrong? Like, I think I'm reading the wrong book. And I read maybe 8, 9 chapters of the book, and then I Google search it and I saw that I'm reading the wrong book. I don't have to read about this great composer that he was in Germany. I had to read about the other Dr. Faustus. So when you're searching for the books, be careful. You have to read the book by Christopher, not by Thomas. So be careful about that. And when I saw that this is actually a play, it's not a book, I was like, okay. I literally opened my phone and I sent a message to my friend and I was like, I'm not so smart, I'm not intelligent. I cannot read and understand a play. You're asking too much of me. But she was like, okay, just chill, start reading it slowly and write some notes, what you understood, what not. Later we can talk about it. Just breathe in, breathe out. You can do this. So now I have to read a play. I'm not ready for that, but we're gonna see how this is gonna turn out. So yeah, basically it's a big challenge, as you can see, as you can hear, but I quite enjoy it. It's giving me different perspective and stories and ideas and even inspirations, and I think that's basically the whole idea. So next month when I'm reading other stuff, I'm gonna also share it with you guys if they're helpful or not, but for now that's it. So that's the first part of my plan. I need to read these mandatory books, and in September I can start writing my first book. So the second part of my big plan, it is, I told you in my last video that when I got into medical school, I actually didn't had any time to read books. And even when I saw books, I was like, please get it away. I cannot even look at it. I read so many books back in university that I wasn't even ready to read anything else. And I think for seven years, I think something like that, for 7 years, I didn't read anything. And back in October last year, when I was in this library, when I picked up the book for the first time after 7 years, I was so extremely happy. And the other thing is, so many books were published for the 7 years, and back in the days, I didn't have Instagram and TikTok. So right now I can even open TikTok and there are so many creators that are sharing what you can read. And if you read this and you like this, read this one. So it's like a big loop and it's never ending, so I can sit the whole day in reading books. So my second part is, if I want to write a fantasy romance, I definitely need to read what's out there, to see what's been published for the last 7 years, what is popular, what people like, what they don't like, even what they think it's missing in this big series. Maybe I can get even an inspiration or things like that. And I'm also a reader, so I'm really motivated to read as much as books as I want. And later, when I read all of the popular viral books that everyone is suggests to read, I can later say which I liked, which I don't like, which maybe can be an inspo, what exactly I like about the books. Maybe I can use them also in my series or maybe not. And later, after reading all of the books that are on my TBR list, which are a lot of books, I can literally, I want to reread them again, and this time to highlight the moments I liked or the moments something happened, so I can see how the big authors, really popular series, really good popular books that everyone is liking, how exactly the authors are structuring the stories, and like to study the books, you know what I mean? Like to see how exactly they structured everything, how the storyline is going, and what's happening with the characters, where exactly in the books they're doing this and that, when comes the villain, how the like I want to study all of the books, and even to highlight stuff that I like so later I can maybe use them. But first, I really want to enjoy all of the books and later to reread them again and then to highlight them, because if right now I start picking up the books and just start to studying them, I'm not going to enjoy them so much. And first, I want to be a reader, then to be a writer. And the third part of the plan is the big research. I told you that also in my last video that one of my favorite podcasts, it's Mel Robbins' podcast. And every time when she talks about business, she's like, yeah, find a formula because someone before you already did it and he's successful. So you just have to do the same things that he or she did. So right now, I have to find a formula. So I'm gonna try to make this big research to try to collect as much data as I can. And I'm talking about, there are a lot of like YouTube channels that I start following that they are explaining what exactly you need to do before writing a book, or how to structure your plot, or how to make your characters and stuff like that. I think for now I have 2 channels that I really, really enjoyed. I'm gonna put them on the screen here. And, I can also search for other writers who are also documenting their journeys and to see like what they're suggesting or what they're doing exactly, so it can help me later with my writing. And also, I already saw this famous book that's called Save the Cat. It's basically a book that helps you write your story. I'm gonna also read it, and I'm gonna try also to find similar books that they're gonna maybe help me later with my writing journey. And basically what I'm gonna do is to try to find a formula, what exactly everyone did before me. I'm gonna try even to like the authors that I enjoy, I'm gonna try to find different interviews and to see what exactly they're doing and how they're doing it, and maybe it can help me later. Or I'm gonna try like to find a lot of resources that are going to be useful for me. And, in the end, maybe I can also pay for a course or stuff like that. Because for now, I'm gonna try to see like every free resource out there that can be helpful. And if later I need extra help or extra information, I can just find a course that maybe is gonna be helpful for me. Because, in the end, investing in yourself, that's the best thing you can do. Even the big successful businessman says that every time when you invest, if it's in you, it's never a loss, because developing and growing, it's the best thing you can do. But for now, I'm gonna try everything that's free and everything that's out there. And if it's needed, then I'm gonna go for a paid course or something like that. So basically, that's my big plan. And that's what I need to do before September. Of course, when in September I started writing my book, I can still read and like research stuff, but I want to try to be as much prepared and to have a whole idea what exactly I need to do, so I don't, when I sit to write my book, just to start writing it and just to finish as soon as possible, not to be like to start writing and to struggle how exactly I need to write or what exactly needs to happen. I want to be as prepared as I can. And yeah, basically that's the whole idea. I think that's the whole plan. I hope that in the next videos I can share with you more about the plot and more about the characters and how exactly I'm building my world and the stuff that are gonna be inside and the history. I'm not sure what exactly to show you first, but I'm extremely excited about this because I cannot wait to talk with someone about my book. And yeah, I have to think before making the video, but yeah, thank you for watching and thank you for being here. And if you're on your own journey about books or self-development or stuff like that, just drop it in the comments. I'm gonna be happy to talk with someone about this stuff and to hear your thoughts about all of this. So yeah, wish me luck and enjoy reading your books. I hope I helped you with something with this video. And yeah, I'm gonna see you next time. So bye.